Good morning, world. Welcome to the Daily Huddle. My name is Sorel Kitan. I'm here with Giovanni Gonzalez. We're the co-founders of the Daily Huddle, and we welcome you to this morning where you get a shot in the arm and a shot in the heart. We stand for you, running your businesses, your lives, and your communities in a way that leaves you fulfilled and knowing you're making a difference in the world. That's us. Rex is my guest, our guest. And Rex, we're going to talk about self-sabotage today. And I realized something. You know what? If self-sabotage was a sport, I'd find a way to lose. Let's roll that tape. If you're listening, you are here because you want to win in life. You're here because you want to win in business. You're here because you want to win for your communities and the causes you care for. And yet, you may have found yourself in this position where you do not do the things you know to do. Or yet, where you know there's something you shouldn't be doing or saying, and you do it or say it anyway. And in many circles, we call that self-sabotaging. My guest is here today to debunk something and say to you that there's no such thing as self-sabotage. Well, before we get into that conversation, though, let's anchor ourselves. CC, I want you to make some noise, girl. Tell me where you are and who are you going to hug today?
Hey, this is CC. I'm making noise. I'm going to hug somebody today. Have a good day. Thank you.
Where are you, though?
I'm right here.
That's right. You are right here, right where you're supposed to be. Good morning. Good morning, Chase. Chase, what time is it? And what are you grateful for?
The time is now. And I am grateful for all of my working facilities.
Got it. And my good friend Giovanni, I would love for you to say, how are you, Gio?
Let me see. I am the way I say I am. And today I say I am thoughtful.
You are thoughtful. Yes, indeed. I love that. I love that. Well, everyone, welcome. Robin Stearns in the house. Welcome, Robin.
Good morning.
Good morning. Folks, I'm introducing you to my friend, Rex Sikes. I could say a ton, and I'm simply going to say a few words from his bio. Rex Sikes is recognized by peers, colleagues, and students as the mindset master and the attitude doctor. Sikes has over 4 decades experience helping countless thousands transform their minds, lives, and pocketbook. He's a master authority on NLP, how the brain works, whole brain and accelerated learning, the law of attraction, and he is a master hypnotherapist, a master hypnotist, plus he's the founder of Idea Seminar. His innovation include mind design and directed questions, the attitude activator, and the master loop. I could continue reading, but I'm simply introducing you now to your new best friend, Mr. Rex Sikes. Rex, welcome. Thank you for having been in conversations with me, and thank you for being here today as a contributor to our Daily Huddle family. Good morning, Rex.
Good morning, Sorrel. It is such a pleasure and an honor and a delight to be with you and Gio and your audience. And I appreciate all of what you do because you add such great value to all your viewers and listeners and the people you deal with on a daily basis. I'm proud to know you. Thank you, sir.
And proud to have you here. Thank you for saying that. We're only standing on the shoulders of people like you who have dedicated decades of your life to making a difference. And today you're here to address this statement you make.
Well, first, right back at you. Right back at you.
Well, thank you. So
Yeah.
Rex makes this statement in his book. In fact, it's mindset number one. And mindset number one states, Rex, there is no such thing as self-sabotage. I want to ask you what you mean by that. But before you go there, could you point to what people usually are pointing to or referring to when they say I'm self-sabotaging?
Yeah, it's you know, psychology is a wonderful thing, and at the same time, everything has kind of a good side or a not so good side, and some of the concepts that we've grown up with for eons with you know, psychological services are concepts or principles that don't add to our understanding or contribute to our well-being in the way that we would hope they would. Sometimes they become blames and excuses or whines or complaints, and so they help to keep us stuck rather than move us forward. People typically think, you know, I want to do something, but a part of me won't let me do it. I am therefore thwarting or sabotaging my own efforts. And I wish it were otherwise, but and then they go, I don't know what to do, or I have to overcome it. Or I've got to wallow through all this crap in order to try and, get myself mustered up to do the things that are right for me. And I understand where that's coming from, but if you understand neuroscience, if you understand the brain, if you understand how things actually work, there is no such thing as self-sabotage. It's just a silly concept that's been offered as an explanation for why people don't do what they want to do.
So literally, we could say that what looks like self-sabotage is really a misuse of what we already have, or misconception. What are you pointing to?
Well,
So
what it does is,
why is it that case?
What it does is it keeps us a victim rather than put us in victor mode. It keeps us not responsible for the changes that we want to make, because if we're not responsible for them, it's something outside of ourselves or it's something in ourselves that's preventing us. Then we don't take the appropriate action or the right action that we could take in order to make it different. Humans have this uncanny ability to, they call it anthropomorphism. They attribute human qualities to animate things like animals. They go, oh, that animal is thinking this or that, or to non-animate things. So it's as silly to say I sabotage myself as it is to say my computer sabotages me, or when your car breaks down, well, it's sabotaging me. It's trying to prevent me from going to the meeting I have to go to. You're not preventing yourself. Your brain is operating the way your brain has learned to operate, and it's just doing something that you now decide you don't like. So instead of saying I'm sabotaging myself, it would be better to say I'm going to find a way in order to work with my brain in order to make the changes I want and start moving forward and programming yourself for success rather than blaming yourself for not getting a result that you want.
That is fascinating. So there is no such thing as self-sabotaging, and there is such a thing as letting your brain, knowing and realizing that my brain is doing what I've taught it to do.
Either purposefully or inadvertently, because as we grow up through societal conditioning, we all get, these concepts. We adopt values and beliefs that, some people will say are limiting, and they're only limiting if that's what you decide they are. They're actually all there to serve you, good, bad, right, or wrong. They're humans judge, and this is the thing that people have to understand. We make evaluations and judge things as good or bad or negative or positive, wanted or unwanted. But in the nature of the universe and the nature of the brain, they're just things that occur. And then our conscious mind, who we are, then determines, based from our experience and our learning and our societal upbringing and our language, whether we think these are good or bad. And we have feelings associated with them. So if we feel something's bad or unwanted, then we feel bad, or, and if we feel it's good and wanted, then we feel happy and elated. So what we need to really begin to appreciate is that your brain is designed to do two things. In the human evolution, your brain is has evolved to keep you alive and surviving. And if you're alive today on the planet, think of all the buses that you've navigated your way out of, and all the hardship and all the difficulty and all the issues that could have kept you or could have removed you from the planet, but you're here. So you're succeeding just by being here. In the same way that people say, well, you're the sperm that made it. You succeeded. You outswam everybody else. So you're here succeeding. So your brain keeps you alive by looking through the universe and finding out what might be a threat, physical or emotional or mental or otherwise, that could prevent you from surviving. And then its other injunction, its other main prime directive is to have you thrive, so that you want to reproduce, so that you continue the human race. So keeps you alive and is designed to keep you thriving. That's all it does. It knows nothing else. And it acquires all of these mental programs through our conditioning. They're laid down, they're neural wired. In neuroscience, we say that neurons that fire together wire together. So if you were exposed as a young child to the notion that you're not a very good person, or you don't deserve success, or that unhappiness is your lot, or you're not lucky, then that's what you learned, and that's what the brain learned. The brain doesn't say that's a good thing or a bad thing. That's just what it learned. If it learned to smoke, it smokes. If it learned to bite nails, it bites nails. If it learned to overeat or feel bad about itself, as well as all the good things, because you've learned to read and write, you learned to walk and talk, you learned to feed yourself, you toilet trained, you walk, and you are able to accomplish all sorts of incredible things.
So
And
for business people and people who want to do great things in the world, this is like the keys to the kingdom, right? You're not wrong, you're not bad, you're not incompetent. Your brain is just doing what it's trained to do, whether you trained it consciously or it got trained through your environment. And so I think what you're pointing to, Rex, is that there is this opportunity for business owners, for community leaders, for world leaders to stop the action for a moment and say, oh, my brain is doing exactly what it's been trained to do. And I may not like the results I'm getting.
Right.
And now I have an opportunity to retrain my brain. Is that
Absolutely. And this is the thing. If people stop complaining and blaming and excusing themselves and go, wow, I am the possessor of this incredible mechanism, this incredibly powerful set of processes that is there to keep me alive and to keep me thriving. Now I just need to learn how to direct it. I use this analogy, a couple of them. One is, if you're using a lawnmower, like a push lawnmower, the lawnmower is mowing the grass, you aren't. You're directing the lawnmower, and as a result of that cooperation, the grass is being cut. So it's the lawnmower that does the job, but you direct it. Same thing with the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind, or these things that we say, is that it carries everything out. It is the powerhouse. It is the mechanism by which we do everything. We don't do anything consciously. We decide consciously, but even if you say, I want to get a drink of water, that conscious intent is carried out by the subconscious. You move your muscles. There's no way you could consciously ever go get a glass of water. So the idea is to understand how wonderful you are. You are unlimited potential. You are unlimited, infinite resources and opportunities. And people sell themselves short by saying, I sabotage myself. I can't do things. I don't know how to do it. There's a part of me that fights myself, instead of saying, I'm going to retrain my brain and I'm going to get my mechanism working the way I want it to do. So my other analogy, and then I'll pass, but the other analogy is, if you don't know how to ride a horse, you go wherever the horse takes you, whether it's a wild stallion or a stable nag that just goes around the park and comes back to the stable. You're on for the ride, which is how most people live. But if you learn how to be an expert rider, then you tell the horse where you want to go, and the horse takes you there. And that's the relationship that needs to be developed with our subconscious mind. Instead of blaming it, align with it and teach it what you want it to do instead of the things that you are getting that you don't want. Business, personal, whatever. And sadly, there's so much misinformation in the personal development field. There's these myths and this erroneous information that needs to be corrected for people to feel truly worthwhile. You deserve to feel every good feeling you could possibly ever feel and get every good thing that you could ever want. And yet most people don't because of these silly notions.
Now, could you point us to one of those silly notions and then flip it and say, instead of that silly notion, here's how you would train your brain to actually get what you want, feel the way you want, deliver the results you want?
Well, it's a conditioning process. If you wanted to have the sculpted body of an athlete, or a champion bodybuilder, you would have to eat right, sleep right, get the proper amount of exercise. You would have a mental set that says, this is important to me, and I'm going to do the things necessary in order to do it. And because you want it enough, you actually go to do it. So it's doing the correct things. In other words, you're training your brain what to do. You want to do the correct mind thought, the correct feeling, or the correct words, and the correct behaviors repeatedly through spaced repetition, correctly, because you can practice things incorrectly. People practice incorrect golf swings, or they practice, bad ways to dive, off a diving board or something like that. But you practice it correctly for long enough until it becomes a new unconscious, reliable, automatic habit. You see, the reason why people are what we do, or we feel bad, what we feel bad, is because these are unconscious habits that are automatic and reliable, and they are, which is a good thing. It's a gift, because if one day, you fed yourself and the next day you didn't know how to eat, or you got up and looked in the mirror and the next day you didn't know who you were, life would be really, really weird. So the brain works to keep you consistent. And so all of the beliefs or the limitations, like the notion of sabotage, are there consistently until you change them. So if you wanted to change your mindset, the notion of affirmations is a good thing, but you'd have to practice them repeatedly, correctly every day. And here's what is the issue for a lot of people. It's not the words that you say that gets the subconscious mind attention. It's the feelings that you have. So you and I forget more than we ever remember, but what we remember are those peak high moments and those peak low moments, those moments of tragedy or upset or disaster. They're like imprinted on us. Everyday stuff from day to day drops out for the most part, And so the way you get your subconscious mind's attention is to add wonderful positive feelings or lots and lots of anger. So if you go, I am never going to do that anymore, and you're really angry about it, I will do this instead, and you have a way of moving in a new direction, then that provides that fuel, that energy, where the brain goes, I get it. You want to do this. See, the brain doesn't understand, I don't want to do something. If you say, the most popular example is, I don't want to don't think of an elephant.
Boom,
Too late.
right here.
Right, too late, you've already done it. So if you say, I don't want to smoke, you're saying, I want to smoke. Your brain doesn't know what don't means, because it only can move forward. Same thing with your computer. Your computer can't delete things from you unintentionally. It doesn't go, I'm gonna take your program and I'm gonna throw it away just to make you angry. And it doesn't, if you go for a search, for example, say, I don't want to know about camels on Google, you're going to get everything about camels. And the brain is the same way. So if you say, I don't want to do this, you have to give it the instruction of what you want it to do. So Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest, boxing champions in the world, said, a lot of times that I don't want to train. I don't feel like training. I don't want to train. I'd rather lie on the couch and eat cookies. But I want to be a champion boxer with the kind that the world has ever known. And he would say, before he became it, I am the greatest. Right? He had the mindset of, I'm the greatest. I'm going to do this. This is my thing. And so he said, even though I don't want to train, I go and train because I understand if I want to be the world champion, that's what I need to do. He took responsibility and he provides his own motivation. People wait for motivation, like as if it's going to come from the outside, or they're going to get fired up enough, or if they just take massive action. Life isn't about massive action. Life is about doing those simple little things daily that make you do it. For example, if your car is stuck in the mud, you might have to take a momentary massive action in order to get it out. But if once it's out, you can take a car that's stalled and put it in neutral and push it on a flat surface, and it'll get its own momentum. After a while, it's not so hard, but you might have to make an extra shove in the beginning. So sometimes we might have to do that. But once it's got the momentum, its own momentum carries you. And this is how you work with your brain. See, you don't have to take massive action. You have to do those little things. And I'll use this as an example and pass back. If you wanted to learn to juggle, you can't take massive action to juggle. You don't throw all the balls up at once and just try and juggle. There's nothing, you have to practice a little bit every day in order to become a good juggler. And if you say, the balls are thwarting me, I can't juggle because I sabotage myself, I don't know how, I'm a klutz, I'm a putz, balls keep dropping, you're not going to get there very quick. But if you understand that dropping balls is part of the process, and you just keep doing the things reliably and consistently, pretty soon you'll begin to juggle. And if the mindset is, I love juggling, I really want to juggle, eventually you'll develop the unconscious habit of juggling. And then you can go further. You can be, one day you're sitting on a tightrope, balanced on one leg of a chair, juggling, eating a sandwich, chainsaws, and the whole thing, because you've learned the skills that go with it. It's a forward movement, not blame, not shame, not criticizing yourself, but aligning yourself and being congruent and going, I'm truly marvelous and I can do this.
Awesome sauce, Rex. Well, we're going to open it up for some questions. And later on, we'll close with letting you know that you can get all of Rex's brains in his book. And buying his book comes with a course. So questions, comments, throw your hands up in the air and let's get a piece of Rex. All right, we'll start with Mr. Giovanni.
Okay. Thank you, Rex. This was phenomenal. I am inclined to ask you a little bit about your life story. How did you get started in this field of growth and development and NLP and becoming someone who gives others tools to take ownership, right? Live life on their terms. That's one question. And the other question is, and I know that was probably a big question, right? And the other question is, you were mentioning something about peak emotions. And one of the things I've been curious about lately is how to shift habits that one knows, that I know, that are not useful for me. And all the knowledge in the world is not tipping it, right? And so you were pointing to peak habits. Peak emotions that gets the brain to shift a little bit. Mm-hmm. Do you have any comments about peak emotions that can create a new habit? Or anyway, go ahead.
Well, I'll take the second question first, and that because that's truly more important. Essentially why I wrote the book. It's all about how you make changes easily and more quickly or more swiftly with more fun and delight, because we've been sold this bill of goods that change has to be hard. It's difficult if you don't take massive action or sacrifice or risk. Think about all the things you hear about entrepreneurship or business. It's risky, it's hard, there's challenges, it's fraught with, well, yeah, okay, but everything is that way too. But if you emphasize the difficulty, who wants to do it? And if it's hard, most people stop. In the US, we have this kind of mindset of, if at first you don't succeed, try again, right? But we also have a thing that says 3 strikes and you're out. So if you don't succeed after a couple of times, most people stop and they try something else. It's the consistent application. How I got started, and I'll answer is that when I was about 6 years old, I wanted to be a mystic and I wanted to be an actor from the time I was 3. And I managed to do both, essentially. But I asked my mom if she would read me these self-help books that we had around the house, because I was raised in a non-religious family, but as a Catholic, and I thought the priest has this mystical connection with, some supreme being up there, and I wanted to figure out what it was. So she started reading the Bhagavad Gita and Think and Grow Rich and all these things. So I've been doing that, and I started reading these books on my own about the time I was 11. Got involved with hypnosis and meditation and personal change, and that led me to having a crisis. That didn't lead me to, but I had a crisis when I was 25 that I write about in the book. And at the time, I locked myself in a room when I figured out what had happened and everything else. I locked myself in a room for about 6 to 8 weeks, trying to sort things out. And I promised myself I would sit in a chair and not leave until I had answers. And I was in this chair going, why did this happen to me? And why, how could I be so stupid? And God, the world is so horrible. And after about 2 weeks, 3 weeks of that, I realized I don't want to know those things. I'm asking myself the wrong questions. I don't want to know why this happened. I want to know what I can do about it. I don't want to know how long it's going to take. I want to know how soon I can make changes. I don't want to think that it's hard and it's tough and all the woe kind of stuff. I want to find out how easy and how much I can do to change in a fun and easy way. And I realized that it was about directing my brain to look for answers, not just answers, but behaviors, changes in my feelings, because we can talk about things forever. You and I can talk about riding bikes, but if you never get on a bike and ride it, you don't have the experience of it. So the thing with emotions is we're alive to feel good. We're alive to enjoy everything that life has to offer. And life offers us both what we would consider wonderful and not wonderful. In other words, there's storms and there are great days. The key to making a difference and to living fully is to celebrate all of it, to understand that the tough times are gifts, the beautiful times are gifts, and not to get caught up in how we were raised. And that is, sometimes bad things happen to good people, or sometimes good things happen to bad people, and there's good and bad and right and wrong. Yes, there is that, but those are human judgments. So learn how to celebrate it all. If you consider something a problem, it will be a problem. If you consider something a blessing, it will be a blessing. I put it this way: there's dog crap and there's diamonds, and you choose. And the key for people is to understand it's their responsibility to choose wisely. And so many people inadvertently or unwisely choose to wallow in dog crap when they could be, making an incredible life for themselves. So how do you do that? You do the things that make you feel alive. You dance, you sing, you skip, you go play with a dog, a child, you go to the lake, you do whatever, but you find a way to have zest in life and to express it, because it's good to express it. And yet most people are taught, sit down, shut, don't move, in school, stop fidgeting, stop laughing, don't play. And we take all the beautiful stuff from childhood and we throw it out. What's the worst thing you can say to an adult right now? Stop acting like a child. No, act like a child. Be free, be innocent, be vivacious, be curious, get captivated by life, be fascinated, and enjoy all of the things and all of who you are. Before you learned that you were wrong, you didn't think you were wrong. You were just this beautiful little child that showed up on the planet, and then people put you in your place. So stop living other people's places.
Thank you. Now, breaking news.
Sorry.
We're going to take 2 more questions and go over time. This is too good to stop it.
Yeah, I can go on forever, so please cut me off.
Chase, you're up, and Robin, you're on deck.
Well, Grand Day team, thank you so much for being here once again. I enjoy your material, and I'm going to need to purchase that book because you're speaking my language 1,000%. My question is, when you're in this situation, and I've been in it many times, where you talk to somebody and they say, oh, well, yeah, I'm going to do that. Or, yeah, I couldn't do that. I've been busy. I'm going to get to it. And then you speak to them again and they go, yeah, just don't have time, whatever. And in the back of my mind, I want to smack them on the side of their head and tell them, hey, that's not true. And I've learned over time for different ways to deal with people like that. Like sometimes I pull back and I go quiet and say, okay, no problem. I'll find something else, whatever. But generally in business, when that happens, I have to move on to somebody else because I know it's an excuse. And if you can't be on my team, you can't do what I need you to do, then I can't use you. If I say I need you at 4 o'clock and you go, well, I'm going to try. I'm just busy. Okay, well, I'm not going to use you then. My question is, what is your experience with people who walk around with this kind of cop out? I don't have time. I'm not inspired. I can't get to it. It's not whatever. How do you personally, how have you dealt with that?
Well, I have to say that if I allow myself to be disappointed by people, I'd be disappointed all the time, because, even Napoleon Hill said that 98% of the people will drift. They won't do what they say they're going to do. They don't take charge. They don't live the lives. Only 1 or 2% will ever make things happen. And so the bulk of the people who you come in contact with will say, I can't do it. I can't afford it. I don't have the time. I don't know how. They will come up with an excuse, or I'll try to get it done. I'll try to meet you at that time. I operate on the assumption of they're not going to do it, so that I'm not disappointed. And if they do it, I'll be absolutely delighted. But having said that, I'm not wishing them the worst. I'm wishing them the best.
Me too.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm telling you.
So you're anticipating, it's like, I pull for people sometimes to say, is there anything that you need that I can help you with? How can I add value? How can we make sure that this happens? And even that said, there are plenty of people who say, I'll meet you on Friday, and they don't show up, or, I'm going to do this, and they haven't. I have a number of very big people around me who do that. And then they go, well, I was busy, or I had things come up, and I'm like, yeah, well, your word is your bond. Right. And reputation is made by the promises you keep and the value that you add. And if you can assist people in adding value and keeping their promises, then you're also serving them.
Of course,
and hopefully you create that two-way street. It's a matter of rapport and trust, and then
thank you.
Just not putting your eggs all in one basket, and maybe needing to find other alternatives just in case.
Right, I appreciate it.
I hope that Chase, for bringing that up. Robin,
yeah. So
you have the final question.
I want to throw in absolutely. And you and I have talked, Rex, and I don't know why I don't have a copy of your book yet. I guess I was waiting for that free course to get connected to it, so now I can buy it. One comment: I do this with giving money to people. Somebody says, "Can you loan me some money?" No, I can't loan you anything. I will give you this $100, and if you happen to give it back to me, hallelujah. And if you don't, I won't hate you for it, because I'm not expecting you to give it back. So I've reprogrammed my lender brain to just say, I'll give it. And if I don't have it to give, I just say no. And then there's no hemming and hawing or feeling bad or any of the baggage that goes with it. It's just, if I have it, it's yours. If I get it back, I'm awesome and blessed. And if I don't, I didn't expect it back. And another thing I wanted to bring up is I'm struggling through getting something done right now to finish this book that I'm trying to get printed. And I have been doing the same process over and over again. And I sit at my desk, and in 5 minutes, I'm going, oh God, it's so boring. I got nothing to dive on. I'm falling asleep here. I got to go take a nap. And I just decided this morning, so I'm so blessed that I got on this call. I decided this morning, prior to this call, I'm doing something completely different to get this done. I have an 8-foot whiteboard sitting here, and I'm going to write out each chapter title, and I'm going to put the things that need to be changed on each chapter in writing on the board, because that makes me feel good, and that's how I operate better. And then it's right there in my face every day. Get this done. It'll be done before the end of the day if I set it up this way. So thank you for just reaffirming, first of all, that we have to change it. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to do it. And I commented that, Edison failed 1,000 times, and when he got asked, he said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. It just took 1,000 steps to get here, right? That's the mindset and the change that I try and help people understand as well. It's not a failure if you're still moving forward. I'm a Christian man. I have strong faith. I stumble every day, but it's not a failure. I'm still in the process of becoming that perfected individual. I'm not there yet. So it's okay to have a screw up. It's not negative. So thank you for just reaffirming what I've been kind of walking through in a process for the last year. And I get told all the time, it's wrong. It's wrong. You can't act like that. You can't feel that. Screw you. Who says? You see the smile on my face? You see how much energy I have? You see how much I love my life and how great everything is? Believe me, there's a lot of crap in my life right now that could bring me down. I have kids going through struggles. I have family issues. I have finance. But none of it matters because I can't change that. I can just keep going that way. So thank you. I appreciate you, sir. And I'm getting your book right now.
Cool. Enjoy the book and the training. And for anyone who is listening, when you get the book, you take your receipt code back to the website there, rexsikes.com/book, put it in there, you'll get access to this free training online. It's not free, it actually costs money, but I'm giving it as a gift. The wise words. First off, if you set the terms that I'm giving and don't have an expectation to get back, you can't be disappointed. And if you understand that, you're ahead of the game. So very, very wise, wonderful to share. If more people, including myself, adopt that kind of mentality, you know, the world becomes a nicer, more friendly place to all of us. Secondly, if you are struggling with something and say, I'm struggling with this, that's true. You're affirming, you're making an assertion that I am struggling. So why would it be any different? If you say, I'm going to change it from struggling to the things that I enjoy most, and I'm going to find the fun and the things that bring me passion and enthusiasm, you know, there you go. You know, it is exactly that.
I love colored pens, and I'm going to use them and write all over my board today.
Beautiful. I mean, again, it is taking responsibility. And what happens with people is that they get caught in the struggle, or they get caught in the circumstances. One of my favorite stories. Well, actually, I'll tell you a different one, and then I'll come back. Or no, I'll tell you both if I have time. Do I have time?
Well, no, actually, time has run out.
We have to do it another
Here's
time.
what we're gonna do. We've never done this. We're going to end the show temporarily, and then we're going to have an after show.
Oh, okay.
Those of you who want to stay with Rex is available. We'll be here after we say our 8 tenets and end the show officially, and then have the after show for the very first time on the Daily Huddle. Well, folks, this is our show for today. We're closing with our 8 tenets, as we usually do. Love always, laugh out loud. As Rex mentioned, you know, find the space where you can engage in creating and causing for yourself these peak emotions that actually push your brain forward into the directions you want. Eat mostly plant-based, stress less, give all the stuff you have. You're not going to take it with you anyway. Sleep, get some rest, move your body, and last but not least, check your assumptions. Monica loves to say, check yourself before you wreck yourself. This is our show for today. We'll see you on Monday morning. Go out and buy Rex's book. The link is on Facebook. And we'll see you in a few. All right, Rex.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
Sorry for, I thought you were done.